You never forget the first time someone humiliates you in public. Not because of what they said, but because of how small they wanted to make you feel. And you definitely never forget the moment when karma writes the ending they never saw coming. My name is Harper Linwood, and once upon a time my best friend turned my love story into a joke. But this is not a story about her. This is a story about me. About what happens when you refuse to stay small in a world that wants to crush you. About what happens when love becomes your foundation and ambition becomes your weapon. This is about the day I realized that the best revenge is not destruction. It is transformation. Let me take you back to where it all began. To the version of myself I barely recognize anymore. To the girl who had lost everything and was clinging to the last shred of hope she had left. I met Jake Donovan when I was at my absolute lowest. My father had just passed away after a brutal fight with cancer. I had lost my job at a marketing firm because of budget cuts. My savings were gone. My confidence was shattered. And I was waitressing at a small diner on the edge of town just to pay rent and keep the lights on. Every morning I woke up feeling like I was drowning. Every night I went to bed wondering if tomorrow would be the day I finally gave up. But then he walked in. Jake. He was not flashy. He was not wealthy. He was not the kind of man who turned heads when he entered a room. But when he smiled at me that first time, something inside me shifted. He ordered coffee. Black, no sugar. And he left a tip that was more than the cost of the drink itself. He came back the next day. And the next. And slowly, carefully we started talking. Jake was a mechanic. He worked at a small auto repair shop across town. His hands were always stained with grease and oil. His clothes smelled faintly of gasoline and hard work. But his heart was the purest thing I had ever encountered. He listened when I talked about my father. He did not try to fix me or tell me everything would be okay. He just sat there and let me be broken. And somehow that made me feel less alone. 3 months later we were dating. 6 months after that he proposed. It was not a grand gesture. There were no fireworks or rose petals or expensive restaurants. He proposed to me in his garage, grease still on his hands, with a ring he had saved up for months to buy. And I said yes. Because I loved him. Because he made me feel safe in a world that had been so cruel. Because he saw me when everyone else had looked away. I thought everyone would be happy for me. I thought my best friend Tara Benson would celebrate this new chapter of my life. I was wrong. Tara and I had been inseparable since college. We were the kind of friends people envied. We shared everything. Secrets, dreams, clothes, late-night confessions, and wild plans for the future. She was the maid of honor at my mental wedding before I even had a boyfriend. I was supposed to be hers. We promised each other we would always be there no matter what. But the moment I told her about Jake, something changed. Her smile became stiff. Her eyes became cold. And her words became weapons. "Oh, Harper," she said, tilting her head like she was talking to a child. "A mechanic? That is cute. Temporary, right?" I laughed nervously, thinking she was joking. "No, Tara. He is amazing. I really think this could be it." She sipped her wine and shrugged. "Well, I mean, if you are happy settling, then good for you. I just thought you would want more, you know?" The word settling stabbed me in the chest. But I brushed it off. I told myself she was just being protective. That she would come around. She did not come around. She got worse. When Jake proposed, I called Tara immediately. I was so excited I could barely breathe. "Tara, he proposed. I am engaged." There was a long pause on the other end of the line. Then finally she said, "Wow. Okay. Congratulations, I guess." I guess? That should have been my first clue. But I ignored it. I ignored all of it. Until I could not ignore it anymore. Because Tara did not just disapprove of my relationship. She turned it into content. She started posting on social media. Memes about girls who marry handymen. Jokes about trading ambition for oil stains. Sarcastic quotes like, "Some women dream of CEOs. Others settle for toolboxes." And people laughed. Her followers ate it up. They commented with crying laughing emojis and tagged their friends. They shared her posts. And every single one of them felt like a knife in my back. Because I knew. I knew she was talking about me. Even if she never said my name, I knew. And so did Jake. One night, Jake came home and found me crying in the bathroom. I had my phone in my hand, staring at Tara's latest post. It was a picture of a luxury car with the caption, "Marry a man who can afford this, not one who fixes it." Jake knelt down beside me and gently took the phone from my hands. He read the post. Then he looked at me with those calm, steady eyes and said, "Harper, do not fight small people. Build something so big they cannot reach." I wiped my tears and asked, "What do you mean?" He smiled. "I mean, let us stop worrying about what they think and start building what we believe in. Let us create something that speaks louder than their words ever could." And that night, in our tiny apartment, we made a plan. Jake had always dreamed of starting his own business, a mobile auto repair service, something that would bring convenience and quality directly to people's homes. He had the skills. I had the business and marketing background. Together, we could build something real, something that mattered. So we did. We called it Revive AutoWorks, and we started from absolutely nothing. We used our garage as the headquarters. I designed the logo on a free online platform. Jake invested in basic tools and a used van. I created a website, set up social media pages, and started reaching out to potential customers. We worked 16-hour days. I took calls while Jake was under cars. I handled invoices, logistics, and marketing campaigns while he repaired engines and changed tires. Some nights we were so exhausted we fell asleep on the couch still wearing our work clothes. But we never stopped. We never gave up. Because we had something to prove. Not to Tara, not to anyone else, but to ourselves. We wanted to prove that love and hard work could build an empire. And slowly, painfully, beautifully it did. Our first year was brutal. We barely broke even. There were months when we were not sure we could pay rent. But our customers loved us. They left glowing reviews. They referred us to their friends and family. And word started to spread. By the end of year 2, we had hired 3 employees. By year 3, we had expanded to 3 cities. Investors started reaching out. People who once would have laughed at a mechanic with a dream were now sitting across from us, offering funding. And we took it. Not because we needed validation, but because we had a vision and we were not going to stop until we made it real. By year 5, Revive AutoWorks was a nationally recognized brand. We had locations in 12 cities. We had over 200 employees. We had partnerships with major corporations. And I was no longer the girl crying in a bathroom over a cruel social media post. I was the CEO of a multimillion-dollar company. Jake was the visionary behind it all. And together we had built something untouchable. I will never forget the day I was sitting in my office, reviewing resumes for a new operations director position. My office was on the top floor of our headquarters. Floor-to-ceiling windows. A view of the city skyline. Awards lining the walls. It felt surreal, like I was living someone else's life. My assistant, Priya, knocked softly on the door. "Harper, there is one resume you might want to look at personally." I glanced up, curious. "Why? What is special about it?" She hesitated. "Just trust me. You will want to see this one." She handed me the file. And when I saw the name on the top, my heart stopped. Logan Benson, Tara's husband. The same man who had laughed at my engagement. The same man who had commented on Tara's posts, adding his own mockery to the pile. The same man who once said, and I quote, "I cannot wait to see this girl crying over her broke fiancé in a few years." And now he was applying for a job. My company. I stared at the resume for a long moment, letting the irony sink in. Then I smiled. "Schedule an interview," I told Priya. "Are you sure?" she asked carefully. "Absolutely." The day of the interview, I dressed in my sharpest suit. I wanted to look every bit the CEO I had become. Not for him, but for me. Logan walked into the conference room wearing a suit that had seen better days. His face was tired. His confidence was gone. And the moment he saw me sitting at the head of the table, his expression shifted from nervous to horrified. "Harper," he said, his voice barely above a whisper. "Logan," I replied smoothly, gesturing to the chair across from me. "Please sit." He sat down slowly, like a man walking to his own execution. I let the silence stretch for a moment. Then I opened his file and began. "So Logan, tell me, why do you want to work for Revive AutoWorks?" He cleared his throat, shifted in his seat, looked anywhere but at me. Well, I have always respected what you have built here. The business model is innovative, and I think my skills in operations management would be a great fit. I nodded, keeping my expression neutral. That is interesting, because a few years ago, you did not seem to have much respect for what I was building. In fact, I believe you said it would fail. His face went pale. Harper, It is okay, I said calmly. People change. Opinions change. Circumstances change. I am not here to rehash the past. I am here to determine if you are the right fit for this position. He nodded quickly, desperately. I am. Promise. I have learned a lot. I have grown. I just need a chance. I looked at him for a long moment, and then I made my decision. You are hired. He blinked, stunned. Really? Really? You start Monday. Relief flooded his face. Thank you, Harper. Thank you so much. You will not regret this. I smiled. But it was not a smile of forgiveness. It was a smile of control. Because revenge does not always mean rejection. Sometimes it means reversal. Logan started the following week. And to his credit, he worked hard. He was polite, punctual, respectful. He did not try to make excuses or bring up the past. He simply did his job. And I let him. Because I did not need to humiliate him. Life had already done that. All I had to do was exist in my success while he existed in his regret. But the real moment, the moment I had been unknowingly waiting for, came 3 months later. We were hosting a charity gala. Revive AutoWorks was one of the primary sponsors, and I had been invited to speak. It was a massive event. Hundreds of guests. Business leaders, philanthropists, influencers, media. I wore a custom-designed gown. My hair and makeup were flawless. And when I walked into that ballroom, I felt like I was walking into my own coronation. And then I saw her. Tara. She was standing near the bar, wearing a dress that was trying too hard. Her smile was still the same. Sharp. Practiced. But there was something different in her eyes. Something hollow. She saw me at the same moment I saw her. And for a brief, beautiful second, her smile faltered. I walked over, my heels clicking against the marble floor. Tara, I said warmly. Harper, she said, her voice unnaturally high. Oh my God, you look amazing. What brings you here? I smiled. My company is one of the primary sponsors. She blinked. Your company? Yes. Revive AutoWorks. You might have heard of it. Her face went blank. And then slowly realization began to dawn. Wait. That is your company. The one that has been all over the news. That is correct. She laughed nervously. Wow. I had no idea you were doing so well. That is incredible. Thank you, I said. It has been a journey. But Jake and I built it together. Actually, speaking of building things together, your husband works for us now. The color drained from her face. What? Logan. He is our operations director. Did he not tell you? She stared at me, speechless. And in that moment I saw it. The same woman who had once turned my love into a punchline was now standing in the middle of the joke she had written. She tried to recover. That is great. I mean, it is good that you are doing well. Really. But her voice cracked. And I knew that every word she had said, every post she had made, every laugh she had shared at my expense was now sitting in her throat like poison. It was good seeing you, Tara, I said gently. And then I walked away. Because I did not need to say anything else. My life had already said it all. Jake found me at the end of the night, standing on the balcony overlooking the city. He wrapped his arms around me from behind and rested his chin on my shoulder. You okay? He asked softly. I smiled. More than okay. I think I just made peace with the past. He kissed my temple. I am proud of you, Harper. Not because of what you have accomplished, but because of who you have become. I turned to face him, tears welling in my eyes. I could not have done any of this without you. Yes, you could have, he said. But I am glad you did not have to. And in that moment, surrounded by the life we had built together, I realized something. Tara had not been wrong about one thing. I had settled, but not in the way she thought. I had settled into love, into partnership, into a life that was messy and hard and real. And it had given me everything. The months that followed were a blur of growth and success. Revive AutoWorks continued to expand. We launched an app that allowed customers to book services with just a few taps. We partnered with electric vehicle companies to offer specialized services. We opened training programs for aspiring mechanics, giving opportunities to people who needed them. And through it all, Logan worked quietly in the background. He never caused problems, never brought drama. He just did his job. One day he knocked on my office door. "Harper, do you have a minute?" "Of course. Come in." He sat down looking uncomfortable. "I just wanted to say thank you for giving me this opportunity. I know I did not deserve it." I leaned back in my chair. "Everyone deserves a second chance, Logan. What they do with it is up to them." He nodded. "I also wanted to apologize for everything I said back then, for how I treated you and Jake. It was wrong. And I am sorry." I studied him for a moment, and I realized that his apology was genuine, that he had changed. "I appreciate that," I said. "And I forgive you." He looked relieved. "Thank you." After he left, I sat there for a long time thinking, forgiveness is not about letting people off the hook. It is about freeing yourself from the weight of their actions. And I was finally free. As for Tara, I never heard from her again. I heard through mutual acquaintances that she had deleted most of her old social media posts, that she had gone quiet online, that she was struggling with her own issues. Part of me felt sorry for her, but a bigger part of me had simply moved on. Because holding on to anger is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. And I refused to poison my own success. Jake and I celebrated our 10th anniversary last year. We renewed our vows in a small ceremony with close friends and family. No extravagance, no spectacle, just love. And as I stood there, looking into the eyes of the man who had believed in me when no one else did, I realized something profound. The people who mock you at your lowest are never the ones who celebrate you at your highest. And that is okay, because your success was never meant for them. It was meant for you. Today, Revive AutoWorks is valued at over $50 million. We employ over 500 people across the country. We have won numerous awards for innovation and customer service. And Jake and I? We are still the same people we were in that tiny garage all those years ago. We still work hard. We still dream big. We still believe that love and perseverance can move mountains. But now we do it from a place of power. Not power over others, but power within ourselves. The kind of power that comes from knowing you built something real, something that matters, something that no one can ever take away from you. I think about that girl in the diner sometimes, the one who was drowning in grief and doubt, the one who thought she had nothing left to give. And I wish I could go back and tell her that everything was going to be okay, that the man who smiled at her over black coffee would change her life, that the friend who mocked her would become irrelevant, that the empire she would build would be greater than any revenge she could have imagined. But I cannot go back. None of us can. All we can do is move forward. With grace. With strength. With the knowledge that our worth is not determined by the opinions of people who never truly saw us. So if you are reading this and you are at your lowest, I want you to know something. The people who mock you now will not matter later. The voices that tell you that you are not enough will fade. And the love that feels small and insignificant right now? It might just be the foundation of everything you are meant to build. Do not fight small people. Build something so big they cannot reach. And when the day comes that they are standing in the shadow of what you have created, do not gloat. Do not humiliate. Simply exist in your truth. Because that is the most powerful revenge of all. My name is Harper Linwood. And this is my story. Not of a girl who was mocked, but of a woman who rose. Not because she wanted to prove anyone wrong, but because she refused to stay down. And if I can do it, so can you. Build your empire. Love fiercely. And never, ever let anyone make you feel small again. Because you were never small to begin with. You were just surrounded by people who could not see how bright you were meant to shine. And now you know. So go out there and show the world what you are made of. Not for them, but for you. Always for you. Years later, I received a message on LinkedIn. It was from Tara. I almost deleted it without reading. But curiosity got the better of me. The message was short. Harper, I know I do not deserve your time or attention, but I wanted to say I am sorry. For everything. You were a true friend and I was a terrible one. I hope you are happy. You deserve it. I stared at the message for a long time. Part of me wanted to respond, to tell her that I forgave her, that I understood people make mistakes. But another part of me, the part that had worked so hard to heal, knew that some chapters are meant to stay closed. So I did not respond, not out of spite, but out of peace, because I had moved on, and she was no longer part of my story. She was just a lesson I had learned along the way. A reminder that not everyone who starts the journey with you is meant to finish it. And that is okay, because the people who are meant to be in your life will show up when it matters. They will support you, celebrate you, stand beside you even when the world is against you. And those are the people worth keeping. Jake and I are planning to open a foundation next year. It will provide scholarships and training for young people who want to pursue careers in skilled trades. Because we believe that every dream deserves a chance. No matter how small it seems, no matter how many people doubt it, every dream deserves to be fought for. And we want to help make that possible. Because we remember what it was like to be doubted, to be mocked, to be told that we were not enough. And we refuse to let anyone else feel that way if we can help it. That is our legacy. Not the money, not the awards, not the success, but the lives we touch, the dreams we help build, the hope we inspire. That is what matters. And that is what will last long after we are gone. So here I am years later sitting in my office, looking out at the city I once felt so small in. And I am not small anymore. I am not the girl who cried over cruel social media posts. I am not the girl who wondered if she was settling. I am the woman who built an empire from nothing, who loved without apology, who rose without hatred, and who learned that the best revenge is not destruction. It is creation. It is building something so beautiful, so powerful, so undeniable that the voices of doubt become whispers in the wind. And when those whispers try to creep back in, I remember Jake's words. Do not fight small people. Build something so big they cannot reach. And I smile. Because we did. We built something so big that no amount of mockery could touch it. We built a life, a love, a legacy. And it all started with a man who smiled at me in a diner when I had nothing left to give, who saw me when I was invisible, who loved me when I was broken, who believed in me when I did not believe in myself. That is the real story. Not the revenge, not the success, but the love that made it all possible. The love that turned pain into purpose, doubt into determination, mockery into motivation. And I would not change a single moment. Not the tears, not the struggle, not even the betrayal, because it all led me here. To this moment, to this life, to this truth. You are not defined by the people who hurt you. You are defined by how you rise after they tried to break you. And I rose, not with anger, but with grace, not with bitterness, but with love. And that made all the difference. So this is my message to you. To anyone who has ever been mocked, doubted, or made to feel small. Your story is not over. Your worth is not determined by the cruelty of others. And your future is brighter than you can possibly imagine. Build your empire. Love without fear. And rise without hatred. Because the world needs your light. And no one has the right to dim it. My name is Harper Linwood. And I am proof that you can turn pain into power. Betrayal into breakthrough. And mockery into a masterpiece. So go out there. And show them what you are made of. Not for revenge. But for yourself. Because you deserve it. You always did. And now it is your time to shine. Do not waste it on people who never saw your value. Invest it in building something that reflects who you truly are. Something that no one can ever take away. Something that will stand long after the voices of doubt have faded into nothing. That is your power. That is your story. And it is time to write it. So what are you waiting for? Your empire is waiting to be built. Your love is waiting to be lived. Your life is waiting to be claimed. Go get it. And never look back. Because the best is yet to come. And you were always meant to rise. Always. If this story touched your heart, inspired your spirit, or reminded you of your own strength, please subscribe to our channel. We share real stories of real people who refuse to stay down. Stories of resilience, redemption, and the unshakable power of the human spirit. Hit that subscribe button and join our community, because your story matters, and we cannot wait to hear it. Thank you for being here. Thank you for believing, and thank you for never giving up. We will see you in the next one.